Well, I sold Angus the Range Rover for something that I thought was going to be pretty bulletproof, but I'm 2 weeks in now and I'm not quite sure that was right. So some of the eagle-eyed amongst you may already tell what this car is, but this is a Volvo XC90, so it's a 2010 model. And I didn't pay pennies for it like I did with Angus, the Range Rover that I got for 1,700 quid. This set me back just over £4,000. Now the idea was to get something that was reliable, we could get the kids in, so this has 7 seats, which is the difference from the L322 that I had previously on the channel, and that I sold a couple of months back now actually, so that I could buy this. Volvo has a reputation for reliability and durability, safety, you know, all those words are synonymous with the brand. But what I found with this so far, and I think it's to be expected for the money I paid, look, I didn't pay top whack for this. I've paid a decent amount of money for a car that had 12 months MOT, but there are some things that are cropping up already that I think are going to cost me a bit of money. Okay, so why did I pick the Volvo? Well, one of the main reasons is under the bonnet you've got the 2.4 litre D5, which is a Volvo lump through and through. If you go back to sort of the late 90s, a lot of the Volvos were running Audi powertrains, but that was changed and Volvo then manufactured their own engine. So the D5 is a Volvo block and I really like that. But simply put, working on this car compared to Angus is an absolute dream. Everything's very accessible. If we look under here, you've got access to your injectors. We've got access to our glow plugs, which run just along the front here. And generally, it's quite easy to work around. There's a lot of space in this bay. Oil filter is just here, so we can access that to do an oil change very easily. Now, this is one of the bits that I need to do. So this engine mount here has gone, and that is what's causing our noise under acceleration. So that just needs taking out. So we take this bar off here, and then we take the mount out, switch this off, which is just a lifting eye onto the new mount, and then we'll switch that out. Other mounts are relatively easy to do. Now there's one down here, and on this they have a vacuum mount front and rear. So they have obviously the vacuum pipe going to those, but they're quite easy to change out. And then we've got a torque mount which sits between the engine and gearbox underneath, which again is fairly easy to change. So ability to work on these cars is really good. So I'm probably going to draw quite a few comparisons between this and the L322 that I had, because that's the car, the outgoing car that I've had, and I've jumped into this XC90. I've always loved the Volvo brand. Volvo and Land Rover are probably two of my favourite car makers. And it's quite interesting coming from the L322. And I know some of you will say it's not a fair comparison to look at an L322 versus an XC90, two very different cars. I think you've got to bear in mind that they do sit at that sort of SUV top end of the market. Let's face it, the Range Rover off-road will win hands down over this all the time. This is a all-wheel drive, uses a Haldex system similar to that you'd find in the Freelander, the Freelander 2. But this is a large family SUV. You could probably draw better comparisons against the Disco 3, Disco 4, but again, we're not talking about off-road capabilities here, and I think that's where the distinction kind of ends for these two. If you're looking for a vehicle that can go off-road reliably and do overlanding, green laning, like significantly, you know, hard green laning, XC90 is not for you. But let's face it, all these cars predominantly live on the road, ferrying families around, and maybe the occasional soft off-roading event at a kid's farm or something where you have to park in an overflow car park, and that's about it. But for me, the practicality of this with the 7 seats, once you've folded all the 7 up, you've got a nice bit of boot space, and those safety and reliability aspects were really what sold the XC90 to me. And obviously it can do a little bit of green laning, you know, some of the stuff like we did in Bob towards the end of last year, I think it was, in the Peak District. This would handle that fine. This car actually has Uniroyal I think they're called all-season tyres or something like that, season something, and they're actually pretty good. You know, one test that we do need to do is to check that the Haldex system is operational. We probably do need to give it a Haldex service at some point, but the test that we need to do is get on some loose gravel or you know, grass, mud or whatever. I'll set the camera up, we'll give him a bit of welly, and what we want to see is that all the wheels have a bit of spin, and then we'll get traction and we'll move away. If we see the front wheels spinning and nothing at the back, we know that the Haldex isn't working and it's sending all the power to those front wheels. So it'd be a good test to do. Okay, so what we're going to try now is just to demonstrate if the Haldex is working. So we're on some loose ground here. I'm not going to give it too much because I don't want to damage the ground, but just give it a spin up, give it a sharp stab of the throttle, and we'll see if if all the wheels are spinning. It will give us an indication if we've got a problem with our all-wheel drive system or not. So let's go. So a few of the issues with this car that we've found so far: we've got the top mount that needs replacing. There is a hissing under acceleration, and I can't work out if it's just heavy induction noise that this engine produces or if I've indeed got a leak. Now, I will be honest, and I've had this smoke tested, so because I thought I'd got an issue, I had it smoke tested and there was no issues found with it. So I'm not concerned about a boost leak. There's no black smoke, so I didn't really think it was that, but I just wanted to check. Now, we could possibly have an issue with one of the engine mounts, which is the vacuum mounts on the front or the rear, but at the moment I'm kind of assuming that it's just heavy induction noise that this produces. You know, it is a turbo diesel, so I think we'll run with it and kind of see what happens with that noise over time. But the engine mount is a must. One of the headlights is flickering, so I need to change that. Brake pads and discs on the rear. The front could do with discs, but the pads are almost brand new, so I'll leave that for a bit because I don't want to just pile loads of money into it yet, which I know I say that on every project, but you know, we'll see how this one goes. Because this is going to be our usable daily family car, and I bought it predominantly for my wife to use, but also so we could use it a little bit on the channel. So it'd be a great filming car. So if we're taking Bob, who's just here next to me, out onto a trip on green lanes or anything like that, this car can come along on some of those more, you know, sort of easy green lanes that we're not too concerned about. You know, you see Freelanders and things like that, and I know they've got terrain response going out on some of these green lanes and they handle it with ease. So there's no reason why this can't tackle some of the more, how should we put it, just the easier green lanes, I guess. And we can then have myself, Liam, Dave all kind of switching between the cars, and we can use this for filming. So it'd be really good. But also, I really quite like this modern stuff. You know, this is a car that's had a massive production run, and I think is becoming a bit of a modern classic. It's got a bit of a cult following, and I'm just really keen to get working on it and get a bit more involved in modern engines. So I think it's going to be a great little project for the channel, and I hope you agree. If you want to see more of the Volvo XC90, please do drop a like down below and drop a comment as well. Tell me what you think. I think it's an interesting prospect, particularly coming from the L322, which I absolutely loved, but I always felt there was something looming in the background with that car that would kind of force me into financial ruin, whereas I'm hoping with a Volvo we should be better off, and at least I can do a lot of the jobs myself with ease and not have to worry about going to a specialist. So let's see how it goes, I guess. Let me just show you some of the other bits on this car because it's quite high spec. One of the big features for us as a family is this tailgate. So when you've got the kids, they can sit on there, you can get them ready, get the shoes on and off and stuff if we've gone for a walk. And this little bit here with the, this is sort of like a luggage divider, or you know, great for shopping and stuff, but actually we use it for the dog. So he's only little, so he sits in here, stops him moving around rather than having to have sort of a big dog guard. And then when he's not in, this just folds down and you've got yourself a massive boot. The seats, the 7 seats, just flip up from here, so as they come up the headrest automatically deploys, so it gives you great capabilities to, you know, put 7 people in. So again, for us, fantastic as a family. Shut that down. In the back then, because this is the executive model, You get these infrared screens, so the infrared beams out to these Volvo headphones. I got a right deal on eBay. These were 5 of these brand new for 25 quid. And the gent, oh, I assume gent selling, the person selling them said that they couldn't get the Bluetooth to connect. But if you know your Volvos, you know that these are infrared and not Bluetooth, so bless them, that's probably why they weren't connecting, because they're not Bluetooth. But you can see you got great floor space back here, leg room, sorry, back here for the kids and for any adults. So what we've done is when we go on holiday, we go with my mum as well. So there's 3 adults, 2 kids, and what's great is actually across this back seat here you can get an adult sat and the 2 kids really comfortably, loads of leg room, and you still get then your entire boot. You don't have to worry about folding up the seats. Obviously with the 7 seats up you lose a lot of boot space, so it's brilliant. These carpets I really don't like. The colour's just grim. If they were grey it'd be perfect and they'd stay, because they're really thick, like rubber lined bottoms, really thick mats, but the colour's just horrible. I think it's to match up with the wood in the front, which you can see is actually, I really quite like the wood veneer effect, but yeah, the mats not so much. So I got us some rubber mats. They were 30 quid. It was a really bad decision. They stink. They just smell like rubbery cigarettes, like smoky, horrible. I've tried leaving them outside in the sun to just kind of burn off any of those manufacturing oils, cleaned them with vinegar, washing up liquid, all sorts, and nothing's worked. So we'll see how that goes. In the back here, these are really good actually. You get super fast charging off these little cigarette lighter inserts, so kids' tablets, if they're using them and stuff, can charge up. You have cup holders with adjustable clamps on, ashtray, which the kids hopefully won't be using, and then the DVD player that controls what's on the screen. So 1 DVD in there, goes on both screens. We kind of thought it was a bit of a gimmick that we wouldn't use those screens, and they've been awesome since we had the headphones. The kids absolutely love it, so it's good because one kid can be on that, and then the other can be on their tablet, or they can both be watching the same thing. In the front there's loads of space for bottle storage. You've got 2 cup holders in here, and I love this. It's not obviously going to be used, but retro phone that would have been part of the on-call service, I'm assuming it's part of this car. Got a nice good old-fashioned gear lever, which I really like. I don't like the little dials, I much prefer to have a lever. And then generally everything is pretty tidy, very Volvo-like, nothing kind of over the top. It's just durable, high quality, soft touch materials everywhere. So yeah, it's a really nice motor to be in. It's got nothing fancy. You've got this screen here, comes up out of the dash on a weird angle. It like leans forward like this, which I guess is for glare, but it's only the sat nav, and being from 2010 it's pretty out of date, so it's really just there as a backup. You can get Android modules that replace this, so you have a permanent screen here, or you can get it so that the screen replaces this entire piece here, so that's just one big screen. But I'm not really keen on that. I like to keep the original look, and we've just got one of the cigarette lighter adapter here, which fast charges the phone, and obviously we just put a little suction mount up on the top there. In here there's an aux connector, so you can put an adapter in there and then set the head unit to aux, and then it'll play through the entire car. But one of the standout qualities for this, which I find so much better than the Range Rover, is the leather. Like, the seats are so nice, and this leather's really soft. My L322 wasn't the Vogue, so it did have slightly lesser quality seats than the Vogue, but the ones in this are so nice, so soft. It's like a hug when you're driving along, and again the ones in the back are lovely. So yeah, overall it's a smashing motor. So be interesting to see how we get on with all the sort of bits and bobs we're going to do on him over the coming months. So it'll be a series certainly for you guys to follow along with if you're interested in these old XC90s. One thing to certainly watch out for, it's really windy today, and this just came flying down, so you got to be careful with that. With caution, put this back in and then move away so I don't get conked on the head. Right, so I think that's where we'll leave it. So lots more stuff coming up on this car on the channel. So yeah, if you want to see it, do drop a like down below, and do go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. It doesn't cost you anything, and we'll see you in the next video.